Welcome back to this episode of A Heart for the Holy Land podcast. My name is John Burt, and I'm excited to have you listening with me today from wherever you may be, talking about all things Israel, from history to updates of what's going on right now. And one thing I'm excited about for this season is dealing with some biblical prophecy. We're going to dive into some things that relate to the land of Israel with prophecy, kind of from 1948 on up to now, what the future is going to be like. I think a lot of people are kind of unaware of how many prophecies have been fulfilled and will be fulfilled concerning the land of Israel. So I'm excited to get started with that in the next coming episodes. But today, what I would like to talk about, maybe not a very long episode, is kind of updating you of what's going on in the Holy Land right now. I take a lot of time to research, look at different news outlets to see exactly where we're at in Israel today, exactly what is going on. And back in January of 2025, everybody has been kind of concerned, been noticing the war that's been ongoing since October the 7th, 2023, with the terrorist group Hamas. And a ceasefire had been reached, an agreement had been reached in January of 2025. They were negotiating between Israel and Hamas, the release of hostages, the end of fighting, trying to come to a resolution and to an agreement. And the fact of the matter is, you can't negotiate with a group like that. They have one thing in mind, they have one goal in mind, and that is the destruction of Israel. And Israel kind of started to see, that they were dragging their feet, that they weren't able to come to a true agreement to get these people out of there, to get these hostages released. And when they saw kind of the handwriting on the wall, they started fighting again. Israel went and started bombing military Hamas outposts, going after key targets, key leadership, and really tried to put more pressure to get those hostages released and to get this fighting to stop. And I was listening to a lady, is she is actually an advisor to Prime Minister Netanyahu. She had sat down and done a long interview on the war, and the question was asked, how strong is Hamas? And she said they have gone from basically a small army almost to just a resistance. She said that so many of them have been killed in these strikes and different battles that have taken place. She said, I don't see how much more longer they're going to be able to stand the attacks that Israel has been putting on them. And one thing I love that President Trump did, Israel's armament had really been depleted, their weapons had been depleted, their ammo had been depleted, and Trump sent a lot of help to refill that so they could be able to go on and continue the fighting. So hopefully, my guess is I don't know how much longer. I don't see how, just from different places I've been looking, how much more Hamas is going to be able to take. I mean, they are got their backs against the wall. Israel has been nonstop every day going after these guys for the main reason to get the hostages home. And no doubt Israel would love to come to the table, but what their main goal is to get the people out, to get those hostages that have been in there for so long home. And unfortunately, there are some that are still alive. There are some that are deceased. They want their bodies back to get proper burials. So that's kind of the key target right now of what's going on. I mean, Israel has basically almost just wiped them off the map. And I did see that they are starting to get enough pressure that they're slowly but surely wanting to talk again. But I'm going to be honest, sometimes in the Middle East, talk is very cheap. What you want is you want action and you want something to happen. So I'm looking forward to that happening sooner than later. And I'll keep you updated as we go through different episodes of what all exactly is going on. But that is one thing I wanted to inform you about. Another thing to watch, and I don't know if you've seen this in the news, and I encourage you to go watch the interviews, different things going on. And you're going to say, well, why is this related to Israel? I'm going to explain it all here in just a moment. But when you see that Trump and Iran are starting to talk, so Iran is the greatest enemy, in my opinion. Other people may say other things to Israel right now. If you look at basically the mission statement of the country of Iran, what their goal is to wipe Israel off the map. So when you have Hamas, when you have Hezbollah, you've heard of the Houthis. Basically, who these guys are, they are an extension of Iran. Iran gives them all the money. Iran gives them the weapons, everything they need to execute these attacks on Israel. So that's kind of why it's a big deal that now our nation and Iran are talking. And what the whole point of the talk is that Iran wants a nuclear missile program for their military. And I think that would be one of the most dangerous things to the world, to put nuclear weapons in the hands of these extremists. I mean, they literally want to kill everybody. They want Americans dead. Obviously, they want the Jews dead. So to give them a weapon of mass destruction or let them have that, that is absolutely crazy. But our president and our leadership has been going back and forth with this negotiation, and I think that Trump doesn't even mind them having some uranium. A lot of countries are nuclear powered. A lot of our submarines, a lot of our naval ships, they're nuclear powered. They're nuclear powered plants, different things like that, as a form or source of energy. But when you start enriching that uranium, that's a problem, because that's when you start making missiles. That's when you start making bombs to use in warfare. And there was an agreement back in 2015 with the Obama administration that was just absolutely a disaster. And we would go and we would check on these different sites. But, Iran is one step ahead of the game. They would take these inspectors to one site to say, hey, we're not, everything's fine. But they would have secret underground places where they were enriching the uranium. They were trying to make a bomb. So basically, what Trump is doing is he's saying, look, it's not going to happen. You're not going to have nuclear weapons. And as far as what the negotiations are, I don't know. And a lot of people are saying, well, why isn't Trump just bombing Iran? Why are we not just going after them? And I think what a lot of his mind behind this is that he doesn't want loss of life to happen. If he can reach an agreement, he wants to reach an agreement. But one thing Iran is really bad about is they'll drag their feet. Doesn't it sound familiar? What the same thing Hamas was doing? Where do you think they get their intelligence from? They'll drag their feet. They'll drag this out while the whole time they're making bombs. And I think President Trump sees this. He knows their play. He knows their tactics. And as America, we have put a ton of sanctions on Iran. So economically, they're hurting right now. They need a deal. They need something to happen. So it's been very interesting to watch what exactly is going to happen. And you may also have seen in the news that Israel was getting ready to carry out a strike, and Trump said no. That's true and false. We don't control Israel. The United States does not tell Israel what they can and what they can't do. They're a free people. They're allowed to do whatever they want to do. But they do realize that they have the backing of the United States. And I think Trump said, hey, just give me a little bit more time. Let me try to negotiate with these guys and see if we can't reach some type of agreement. Do I think that's going to happen? Probably not. Could I see the United States going after Iran with the aid and the help of Israel and maybe using Israel kind of as the forefront? Absolutely, I do. And you say again, why is that a big deal? Here it is concerning the nation of Israel. So you have Iran, who is the mother country, right? And they're supplying money, arms, ammo, military equipment, intelligence, everything to these three main proxy groups of Hamas, the Houthis, and Hezbollah in the north. So they're saying Iran has never been this weak. So if they're weak, they're not able to get what the equipment supplies out to these proxy groups for them to continue terrorist acts. So it's kind of one big circle. So I'll set all that to kind of wrap up and sum it in this way. If Iran don't have the money, they don't have the money. And if the proxies don't have the money, they're not going to be able to continue fighting Israel. So that's why I personally believe a lot of this war and a lot of these attacks are going to start slowly but surely wrapping up. And I would say keep a very close eye on the news of these negotiations between the Trump administration and the leadership of Iran, because I mean some really big things could come out of this. I don't want to see a loss of life. I don't want to see anybody get killed, but you know if they're not going to come to the table of their people, they cannot have nuclear weapons. I mean, that's just absolutely something that is not on the table for them. So that's why it's important as Americans we pray for our president that God would give him wisdom, that God would give him leadership on how to navigate these negotiations, and also we pray for the nation of Israel. No doubt, everyone around them is hostile. Nobody is for the Jewish state. Nobody is for the Jewish people, and we need to pray that God would give their leadership wisdom, that God would give them the fighting spirit that they need, and that God would destroy their enemies. I mean, that's really what it comes down to. The Bible still says in Genesis chapter number 12, I will bless thee that bless them, and I will curse them that curse thee. And I want to be one of those that blesses the nation of Israel. And I want America to continue to be the nation that blesses the nation of Israel. And as far as more updates when they come out, I will continue giving those. A lot of great things are happening in the Holy Land. One of those is Mike Huckabee, that is now the ambassador to Israel. I was listening to an interview with him from a local in Israel, and a lot of good things are going to come out of that. I'm going to kind of leave it there, leave you have something to look forward to, maybe to future episodes. But again, I appreciate you taking time out of your day to listen to this. Again, be praying for our nation, be praying for Israel. A lot of big things coming. I can't wait to see, just from what we talked about today, how all of this is going to unfold. And in a kind of a closing way, what I would like to do is give you a couple things to kind of put on your radar, help as far as our ministry goes to pray about. My wife and I have started an extension ministry off of our evangelism ministry called Bring the Holy Land to Your Hometown. And basically what we've been doing is trying to bring a piece of Israel to different churches, to different places, because right now it's very difficult to go to the Holy Land with all the hostility and all the fighting. I've known people that have went. It's just I'm not comfortable in taking a group right now because I want everyone to have a great first time experience. One's going back to remember what it was and not have to be able to say, hey, we can't go here, we can't go there. And there are some people physically they can't go, financially they can't go, and maybe the season of life you're in you just can't go. So what we have been doing is basically bringing a trip to a church, even to different places, and kind of showing. So if you're interested in something like that, please reach out to me. We would love to get together and do that for you. And also another to keep on your radar, Lord willing, in October of 2026, we are going to try to take a trip to the Holy Land. So if that is something you're interested in, please reach out to me. We can get you more information on that when it becomes available. Again, I'm watching the Middle East. I'm watching Israel very, very close to see what all is going to go on, what all is going to happen, because safety, number one, is key. And I've never been to Israel and felt unsafe, but I do want to make sure everybody has a good experience. So with that, I pray that you have a wonderful day. I pray that you have a wonderful week, And remember, always have a heart for the Holy Land.